What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with another one. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, hit me up on Twitter, TikTok, the community post. You already know the vibes, and I'm back at you with your AEW Revolution review. And man, honestly, Revolution was good. It was a really good show. I really enjoyed Revolution until that main event, and that's actually the first thing I'm going to talk about. So the main event, of course, was between Jon Moxley and the rated R superstar Cope. And by this point, man, you can tell the crowd was like really, they were kind of out of it. I mean, they did sing Cope's song, which is always a good thing, but they were mostly kind of quiet throughout the match. It was like they were expecting something to happen, anything to happen, but for the most part, it was the usual Death Rider shenanigans. The match was going on. They were doing like a whole bunch of forearm exchanges and whatnot. There was a ref bump in the middle of the match. And Wheeler Yuta showed up out of nowhere, and you're kind of expecting Wheeler Yuta to do something, and what he ended up doing was hitting the Psycho knee on Cope. People were thinking that he was going to turn on Moxley, but that didn't happen. He hit the Busaiku knee on Cope. So now at this point, the Death Riders are beating up Cope, and then Jay White comes out, and he's beating up Wheeler Yuta. It looks like he's about to hit Moxley with the briefcase championship, but he accidentally hits Cope. And I'm like, oh, so there goes my theory of, Jay White taking the contract from Christian and ultimately cashing it in himself. But speaking of Christian, so in the middle of the match, you have Christian Cage come out wearing Solo Sikoa's hoodie. He cashes in his contract, turning the singles match into a triple threat match. And you're just like, oh, so this is how it's going to happen. So Christian's going to come out of nowhere and steal the championship. No, that's not what happened at all. Christian ended up hitting a spear, trying to cover Cope. Cope kicked out. He tried to hit a prettier. That didn't work. Mox knocked in the bulldog choke, and as this is happening, you see Christian trying to cover Cope like with one arm because Cope was laid out, but that didn't work. And ultimately, Moxley ended up winning the championship, retaining the championship, beating Christian. And that was it. That was the main event. And that's like, for as amazing as this pay-per-view was, as amazing as this show was, this was kind of a shitty way to have the show end, with Moxley retaining his championship. You had a cash in, but it kind of went nowhere. No Jay White heel turn, no new champion, no nothing. It's just the typical Death Rider bullshit. So you see Jon Moxley walking away. He's walking to the back. He's celebrating. He's telling everybody how great he is. And then you see the winner of the number one contender match between Ricochet and Swerve. You see Prince Nana show up, and he's in the face of Moxley, and it's looking like Moxley was about to beat up Prince Nana, but then out of nowhere, Swerve showed up. Like he appeared like Daredevil, like he just showed up out of nowhere and just Swerve stomped everybody, and then he's celebrating because he is the new number one contender. Like I said, he beat Ricochet earlier in the night for the number one contenders match. And speaking of that, it was a really good match. I actually got my prediction wrong. That was the only prediction I got wrong, because I was thinking that Prince Nana was going to turn heel and join up with Ricochet, and that's how he got his role back. But that wasn't the case. Like, they teased it earlier. Like, they teased Prince Nana leaving Swerve because Swerve accidentally pushed Prince Nana and Nana left. But that was all a ruse just so Prince Nana could get his role back. So, Swerve ended up winning the match, and he's going to face Moxley. I don't know if it's going to happen at Dynasty or on Dynamite, whenever, but I'm really hoping that Swerve can get that championship back, be a two-time AEW champion, because this whole thing with the Death Riders and Jon Moxley, that whole championship run is not working, man. The Death Riders as trio champions is not working. Like, you have so many other trios there. You have the Ops, you have the Undisputed King, you have so many other guys that could be way better champions than the Death Riders. You have Swerve, who could be a better AEW champion. Hell, you have Hangman Adam Page, who could be a better AEW champion. He beat MJF in the opener. That was a phenomenal match. But you see why Hangman is indeed the guy. Like, he's one of the main characters in AEW, and you have so many guys that could be main event guys that could, carry the torch and be the AEW champion instead of this whole Death Rider situation, which is kind of weird, man. It's kind of whack. You have guys like Will Ospreay. Hell, I won't even say Kyle Fletcher, but Kyle Fletcher, he could be in the running as like one of the top running guys in AEW. But speaking of Will Ospreay, him and Kyle Fletcher had a bloody, and I'm not saying this like as a British person, but like an actual bloody match inside the steel cage. Kyle Fletcher is a weird, freaky dude because Will Ospreay is bleeding all over the place. He's bleeding all over the cage, and you see Kyle Fletcher actually licking the cage. I'm like, you sick, freaky ass Australian. Like, he stabbed Will Ospreay in the head with a screwdriver. He's licking the screwdriver. I'm like, yo, Kyle Fletcher, that's a freaky ass Australian. I don't know what he has going on, but that's some weird stuff going on. But you had Mark Davis trying to interfere. He tried to run interference and help Kyle Fletcher win. But Will Ospreay is too OP. He's too powerful. He's British, he says, bruv. And he ended up beating Kyle Fletcher. And that was an amazing steel cage match. Next match I want to talk about is the fact that we have a new international champion in Kenny by God Omega. Kenny finally broke the streak. He finally beat Takeshita. And just as I expected, Kenny Omega is the new international champion. Phenomenal match. And a lot of people are thinking is going to be Kenny taking on Okada in the near future to maybe unify the international and the Continental Classic Championship. Speaking of that, we had a match between Okada and Brody King. And it happened. It was a match. Nothing really to write home about. I mean, it was okay. Not the best match of the night, but it was what it was. Speaking of a match that was what it was, you had the Hurt Syndicate just beat up the Outrunners. And in my opinion, this match went on a little bit too long. Like, the outcome happened exactly how I wanted it to, but I feel like it went on a little bit too long. The Hurt Syndicate really should have just clapped the Outrunners' cheeks a whole lot sooner, but it is what it is. They're still the AEW Tag Team Champions. We had a pretty good match between Momo Watanabe and Mercedes Mone for the TBS Championship. Mercedes ended up getting the win, but something you did see was Billy Stark taking notes on the Mercedes match, and they're doing a little bit more and more to tease the pending match between Athena and Mercedes, and I'm here for it. I can't wait for it. But a match that we're really excited for, that a lot of people say that should have main evented the show, was Mariah May taking on Timeless Toni Storm. And this was, it was the Hollywood ending. It was a Falls Count Anywhere, no disqualification, anything goes match. And this was supposed to, complete the trilogy, complete the three-peat of phenomenal matches that these two had. And it definitely lived up to it. It was definitely a better match than Cope and Moxley. And I definitely wouldn't have been mad if this ended up main eventing the show. But, it is what it is. But, like the Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher match, this was bloody as fuck. Like, they were bleeding all over the place. There were pile drivers, and there was one spot during the match where Toni and Mariah both taped their fists up. I don't know where they got these buckets of glass from, but they taped their fists up, like, with actual tape. Dug their fists into these buckets of glass and started punching the shit out of each other. And I'm like, yo, these women are crazy. They're doing pile drivers through tables and thumbtacks. It was just a whole bunch of shenanigans going on, and it was a phenomenal match. And the cinema, the storytelling, the acting, the je ne sais quoi of the match, all that fun jazz. But to the surprise of nobody, Toni Storm retained. She is still your AEW Women's Champion. And the match ended with them saying the end on the screen, and it was great. It was a great series of matches, a great feud, great storytelling. I'm not even mad at it. And I think I covered everything. The pre-show, I missed half of it. What I did end up seeing from the pre-show was Chris Jericho beating up Bandito and Gravity in front of their family. Like, their mom was there because Gravity and Bandito are brothers. So that happened. Chris Jericho took off Gravity's mask. So whatever. Big Boom AJ, Orange Cassidy, and Mark Briscoe ended up beating the MXM Collection, and that was a fun match. You know, it wasn't anything inoffensive. It was fun. I had fun with it. You know, the Riz was there. He was dressed up as Orange Cassidy, so that was pretty funny. So, you know, Revolution continues the streak of being like the most consistent pay-per-view from AEW. Like when I know it's AEW Revolution, I know it's going to be a quality pay-per-view, and this pay-per-view was no different. Even though you had the stinker of the main event between Cope and Moxley, you know, we're still going to get Swerve versus John Moxley in the future, and hopefully Swerve can be the one that finishes the job and finishes it off the Death Riders, because I'm tired. I'm so tired. But with that being said, guys, what did you think of Revolution? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Peace. I'm out. Peace.